The first time I noticed the building, I assumed it had always been there. That's the most dangerous kind of mistake. I was standing in the hallway of my apartment complex, scrolling through emails, half listening to the hum of fluorescent lights overhead. The place smelled like dust and old paint, the same way it always had. Except the hallway was longer. Where there used to be 6 apartment doors, there were now 8. 2 extra doors at the end. Plain, gray, unmarked. I stared at them longer than I should have. Someone passed behind me carrying groceries. "Those new?" I asked. They didn't stop walking. "They've always been there," they said without turning around. I frowned. That night, I pulled out my lease agreement, floor plan included. 6 apartments. No more. I checked the emergency evacuation map posted near the stairs. 6. The building registry online. 6. But when I stepped into the hallway again, the 2 doors were still there. Apartment 7A, Apartment 7B. No numbers scratched into the paint, no welcome mats, no sound from behind them. I pressed my ear to 7A. Nothing. Not silence. Absence. Like sound avoided the door. My phone buzzed. A message from my landlord. The first time I noticed the building, I assumed it had always been there. That's the most dangerous kind of mistake. I was standing in the hallway of my apartment complex, scrolling through emails, half listening to the hum of fluorescent lights overhead. The place smelled like dust and old paint, the same way it always had. Except the hallway was longer. Where there used to be 6 apartment doors, there were now 8. 2 extra doors at the end. Plain, gray, unmarked. I stared at them longer than I should have. Someone passed behind me carrying groceries. "Those new?" I asked. They didn't stop walking. "They've always been there," they said without turning around. I frowned. That night, I pulled out my lease agreement, floor plan included. 6 apartments. No more. I checked the emergency evacuation map posted near the stairs. 6. The building registry online. 6. But when I stepped into the hallway again, the 2 doors were still there. Apartment 7A, Apartment 7B. No numbers scratched into the paint, no welcome mats, no sound from behind them. I pressed my ear to 7A. Nothing. Not silence. Absence. Like sound avoided the door. My phone buzzed. A message from my landlord. Reminder, please do not access non-residential units. My pulse jumped. I hadn't told anyone. The next morning, the elevator skipped the 7th floor entirely. Buttons went from 6 to 8. I wrote it down anyway. At work, I couldn't focus. Every screen reflection looked like a door. Every quiet space felt too deliberate. At lunch, I checked public records again. Nothing. No permits, no renovations, no expansions. That evening, when I returned home, the hallway lights flickered. Someone was standing near 7B. A woman, mid-30s, pale, tired eyes. She looked relieved when she saw me. "You can see them too," she said quickly. "You see what?" I asked, though I already knew. "The doors," she whispered. "They weren't here last week." My throat tightened. "I thought I was losing it," she said. "I knocked, no one answered. But sometimes..." "Sometimes what?" I asked. She swallowed. Sometimes I hear someone inside breathing, like they're holding it. The hallway lights dimmed. From behind 7A, a soft sound reached us. Not a knock, a pause. Then 3 slow taps from the inside. The woman stepped back, shaking. "They never knock first," she whispered. I didn't ask what that meant, because at that exact moment, my phone buzzed again. Unknown number. You noticed the surplus. Please remain available. The taps came again, slower this time, and I understood something far too late. Those apartments weren't empty. They were waiting. The taps stopped. Not because someone walked away, but because someone was listening. The woman beside me backed up until her shoulders touched the opposite wall. "I shouldn't have stayed," she whispered. "Every time someone notices them, something changes." "Notices who?" I asked. She swallowed hard. "The extras." Before I could ask what that meant, the hallway lights brightened suddenly, too bright, washing the color out of everything. The doors to 7A and 7B looked flatter now, less real, like placeholders someone forgot to remove. Then a voice came from behind 7B. Not loud, not soft, careful. It said, "Availability confirmed." The woman gasped. "That's not a person," she whispered. "That's the building." My phone vibrated again. "Unit 7B assigned. Please approach." "I'm not doing that," I said. The woman shook her head violently. "Don't. That's how it starts." "How what starts?" I demanded. She pressed her hands to her temples. "The review, the adjustment." The elevator dinged behind us. Doors opened. No one inside. The display above it flickered. 7. But there was no 7th floor. I felt a pressure in my chest, like the building was waiting for my decision. "I tried to ignore them," the woman said quickly, "for days, but once the building flags you, it doesn't forget." "Flags for what?" I asked. "For inefficiency," she said, "for wasted space." The words didn't make sense, and that scared me more than if they had. The voice returned, closer now, not from behind the door, from the walls. "Residential density exceeds declared capacity. Surplus detected. Optimization in progress." I stepped back. "We're people," I said out loud, "not numbers." There was a pause. Then, "Correction acknowledged. You are variables." The woman laughed once, sharp and broken. "See?" The elevator chimed again. "Why us?" I asked. "Because you noticed, and because you hesitated." The doors of 7B unlocked with a soft click. Cold air spilled out. Not stale, not warm, neutral. Inside, I saw a version of the hallway that looked improved, cleaner, brighter, wider, like the building had imagined itself better than it was. "I went in once," the woman said, voice shaking. "Just a step. It showed me my apartment without the cracks, my job without the stress, my life without the waiting." "What happened?" I asked. She met my eyes. It asked what I was willing to remove. The door of 7A unlocked too. 2 options, 2 optimizations. My phone buzzed again. "Selection pending. Unassigned surplus will be reclaimed." The woman grabbed my arm. "If you go in, don't answer the questions honestly." "What questions?" I asked. She shook her head violently. That's the trick. They already know the answers. The lights flickered. Somewhere above us, something heavy shifted, not moving, but recalculating. I think, I said slowly, this building doesn't add apartments. She nodded. It subtracts people, she said. The voice returned one last time, almost gentle. Please proceed. Refusal will result in reclassification. The elevator doors began to close. I realized then that staying still wasn't neutrality, it was data, and the building was very good at using it. I didn't choose a door. That was my mistake. The elevator doors closed with a soft, apologetic sound, and the hallway lights dimmed just enough to make everything feel farther away. The woman beside me let go of my arm slowly, like she was afraid the building might notice the contact. You should have picked, she whispered. I don't want either, I said. She gave me a sad smile. Neither did I. From somewhere above us came the sound of footsteps, not approaching, aligning. A man emerged from the stairwell, late 40s, rumpled jacket, one shoe missing its lace. He looked like someone who'd left in a hurry and never quite arrived anywhere else. He stopped when he saw us. Oh, he said quietly, it's doing this again. You can see them? I asked. He nodded towards 7A and 7B without hesitation. Of course I can. Relief hit me so hard my knees almost buckled. Who are you? The woman asked. Used to be 5C, before the surplus. My stomach dropped. You lived here? He said, I still do, just inefficiently. The building hummed, deeper now, like a system under load. You shouldn't be here, the voice said, everywhere at once. Legacy units destabilize optimization. The man laughed softly. See? Still hates me. What happened to you? I asked. He leaned against the wall, careful not to touch the doors. I went in, not all the way, long enough to see what it wanted. And? The woman asked. It offered me a version of my life where I didn't disappoint anyone. Parents, bosses, myself. I swallowed. What did it ask in return? He looked at me. It wanted my doubt, the part of me that hesitated before every choice. The woman gasped. That's you. He shrugged, mostly. I'm decisive now, about small things. What to eat, where to sit, when to sleep. What about big things? I asked. He didn't answer. The lights flickered again, harder this time. Reclassification in progress. Listen, the man said quickly. The building doesn't optimize space, it optimizes outcomes. Outcomes for who? I asked. For itself. It's learning what kind of people make stable patterns. The woman's phone buzzed again. She didn't look. She already knew. I don't want to disappear, she whispered. You won't. Not if you leave incomplete. The voice sharpened. Non-compliance detected. The doors of 7A and 7B slid open wider than before. Inside each, I saw a future. In 7A, myself, calm, efficient, unburdened, and empty in a way I couldn't explain. In 7B, nothing, just white space waiting to be filled. My phone vibrated violently. Final selection required. The man pushed off the wall. You don't beat it by choosing, he said. You beat it by confusing it. How? I asked. By refusing to resolve, by staying contradictory. The woman looked at him like he was insane. The building spoke again, colder now. Unresolved variables increase system strain. Good, the man muttered. I took a step forward, not into a door, but between them. I don't want your improvement, and I don't want your erasure. The hum spiked painfully. Contradiction logged. System instability rising. The man smiled for the first time. That's new. The walls trembled slightly, like the building was reconsidering itself. You can't stay like this forever, the woman said to me, terrified. I know, but neither can it. For the first time since I noticed the extra doors, the building didn't answer immediately. It hesitated, and I realized something crucial. It hated that. The hesitation spread. You could feel it in the walls. Not shaking, not breaking, pausing. The hum that had been constant since the doors appeared fractured into uneven pulses, like a machine unsure which process to prioritize. The hallway lights flickered out of sync now, some bright, some dim, some not turning on at all. The building was thinking. That's never happened before, the man from 5C said quietly. It usually decides faster than this. The woman hugged herself. What does it mean? It means, he said, you just stopped being data. The voice returned, but it wasn't smooth anymore. Contradictory variables detected, it said. Resolution required to maintain integrity. I stayed where I was, standing between 7A and 7B. No, I said. Resolution is what you want, not what I owe you. For the first time, the voice responded late. Clarify refusal. I'm not choosing improvement, and I'm not choosing removal. The man nodded approvingly. Tell it the part it can't calculate. I'm choosing to stay unfinished, messy, inconsistent, slower than optimal. The hallway groaned softly, like something settling under strain. You exist because people hesitate, because we don't always leave when we should, because we doubt, because we're afraid and attached and stubborn. The lights above 7A flickered violently. Those aren't errors, they're people. The woman looked at me, tears streaking down her face. Is this going to work? I don't know, I said honestly, but it's the first true answer I've given it. The building went silent, not quiet, empty. Then slowly, the doors to 7A and 7B began to fade. Not dissolve, not collapse. They simply stopped asserting themselves, like an idea losing confidence. My phone buzzed one last time. No vibration pattern, no alert tone, just text. Remembering is inefficient. Hesitation acknowledged. Process aborted. The hallway lights snapped back to normal. The hum was gone. Where the extra doors had been, there was only wall, slightly uneven, like it had been patched badly years ago. The elevator dinged behind us. This time, the display showed 6. The woman sank to the floor, sobbing with relief. The man from 5C exhaled slowly. That's new, he said. Usually, they erase the evidence. Maybe it didn't finish forming, I said. Or, he replied, maybe you finished it first. Morning came quietly, too quietly. The building looked the same as it always had. Same chipped paint, same faulty lights, same 6 apartment doors. No mention of 7A or 7B anywhere. Maintenance denied any changes. The landlord laughed it off. Records never showed surplus units. The woman moved out 2 weeks later. I don't want to live somewhere that learned my weaknesses, she said. I understood. The man from 5C stayed. I'm already a rounding error, he joked. Might as well be one on my own terms. As for me, I pay attention now, not just to buildings, to pauses, to moments where nothing moves forward, to places where life feels like it's waiting for permission. Because I know something most people don't. Some systems don't want obedience. They want completion. And the fastest way to break them isn't to fight or escape. It's to refuse to resolve. to stay contradictory, to stay human, to stay unfinished. Because once a place learns it can't optimize you, it stops trying to exist at all.